Let's go live. We're live now. And I completely forgot the intro video and music. That is a shame. No, shit. I'm not supposed to say words like that. In case you're wondering why it's so peaceful and silent at the moment, it's because I muted Fern because nobody wants to hear him eat. We had some we had some technical issues, but now we're live. Good evening, or good morning, good noon, or good midnight, whenever and wherever you're watching this. Welcome to In Conversation. Is it 34 or is it 35? It's 35. It's 35, and now I'm gonna unmute Fernando. Dr. Fern with me today.
Hello. I am so it's been 5 months,
It's been 5 months, right? You
right?
still
Wait, November, December, January, February, March. Yeah, 5 months. 6 months, really, because April.
Yeah, a shame, right? What a shame. But we're back, and I think it is a quite interesting topic that we have. We're still waiting for our guests to join. There's some yeah, so far unresolved technical issues, but we're positive, right? We're positive that they will join us. And if not, then we will be having another in conversation. So I'm sure that will work out then. What are we going to talk today? No, first introduction, right? We need to introduce ourselves, even though nobody watches who doesn't know us anyway, right? So, with me on the chat today, as usual, Fern Fernando, Dr. Fern, all things Fern on Tumblr, Fernando Socorro, also admin for Luxlit, and I'm also here. My name's Pete. I like pictures, as you might know. You can find mine on tboom.tumblr.com and tboomphoto on Instagram. And I also happen to be one of the numerous admins of Photos Worth Seeing on Tumblr. And today we're going to talk about how the pandemic, how COVID-19, how all the, and I'll mute Fern's loud typing, uh, how the pandemic, how COVID-19, how all the circumstances affected or not affected our photography. And um, I would love, I think you're of the same opinion than I am, or as I am, Vern. If you wonderful people out there on the chat, Amy Montico on the chat, Linton Arden's Highlights, Roy is on the chat, Bud Wayland Whitney is on the chat, and of course also the Duchess of Abstracts and wonderful landscapes. Steffi is also on the chat. So welcome. Welcome, all of you wonderful people. So if you want to join this discussion, if you want to show your photos that you made during the last 12 months of pandemic, you can send me, because you're all on Tumblr, right? So you can send me links to photos that you want to show to us via the Tumblr Messenger. I'll frequently check, and we're going to show these photos on the stream and talk about them. Is that okay with you, Fernando? Because we each of us selected a couple of photos that we made and that we thought that show what we did over the last 12 months. I don't think there's any person on the planet who is louder while eating than Fern, right? Now I have to unmute
There's a
him.
mic. There's a mic right on here, so you will hear my chewing. Sorry.
No, it's your doesn't matter.
Oh, you mean
Your
the silverware?
your chewing is wonderfully silent.
Oh, fuck you.
No, I stopped doing that. It's unhygienic. So, okay.
My, ew, I'm eating.
Why do you eat anyway?
Oh my god. These lentils and black rice are so delicious. And I cook my own food most of the time. So
All right. So, by the way, in case you haven't realized that, in case you see a significant difference in image quality on my side, it is because I changed significantly, or my setup here changed significantly because I'm currently streaming with the Canon EOS M50, that little mirrorless camera, which is just, and I have to say it, and even though uh, I see jealous glances from this baby from the side. I have to say I really learned to love that little camera, the M50, and it also and that works perfectly into or plays perfectly into the topic that we we are talking about today, um, because using that camera was also one effect of the pandemic. So, um, since you're still eating, I think I might start, or do you want to start? Because the one thing that happened during the pandemic is, in case I mean, I don't really have to talk about my usual photos that I make, right, or that I show, which are usually landscapes, like vast landscapes, mountains, big forests, stuff like that, which are just like the kind of photography that I personally um, love to see, and that I also try to make, right. And I'll just, for those, there might be one or the other person uh watching, maybe not right now, but maybe later. And let me see if I can just simply show my blog. um I forgot how that works. Share, here we are. Share screen. Share screen. So, and I have to put this in a different window. Right. So, these are, of course, some of. So these are kind of more like the type of photos that I usually make, right? Seascapes. Uh, Even though that was made during the pandemic, but like lonely landscapes, stuff like that, stuff like that. And which is a bit of a problem right now, because it's not too easy to travel, right. And I have to, there must be more. Why are there only those couple of photos on my, why can't I show more? Oh, here we go. So things like that, photos like that. This is my sort of photography, right? Mountains. Was it, no, was this when, I think it was when I don't know if this was a photo that I made while you were visiting together with Heiko, or whether this was when, quote unquote, only Heiko was visiting. I'm not sure. I think it was only with Heiko, but so these were the good days when we were still able to travel, to see places. And so that's at the moment not really possible, right? So what I had to do was to rely on something, or to do more and more what I do anyway, and is to stroll around local the local area, which is not the worst thing. And I'll mute Fern again. Not the worst thing, because I live in a pretty nice area. So everything you saw on my on my uh, on my blog now. And if you want to check um, while during the stream, you can check my blog, of course. That is tvoom.tumblr.com, or you can go to my Instagram, which is tvoom So there you'll see some some more examples. So, but even that, and this is what I found really frustrating, is that all the places that I usually went to that were also usually very, let's say, there were not a lot of people around, and they are all crowded now. It is absolutely crazy, and it's this is a if someone would have told me that, I wouldn't have believed, or I wouldn't believe them if I wouldn't have experienced it myself. So lately, I have been enjoying taking macro photos. So I usually take my 105 millimeter macro, go into the forest. So, and I have a little waterproof or water resistant blanket with me that I can lay on the ground so I don't my pants get dirty or wet. And so I lay down on the ground when I take macro photos. And there's like paths in the forest, like not that, but like 1.5 times as of the width as I am, right? Which so not really wide. And there's usually nobody around. So I put down my blanket. So there's a little beam of light shining on some moss parts, right? And I put down my blanket, lay on the ground. I hear a ringing. Someone with a bike comes along. Nobody. There were no bikes, whatever, in that part of the forest. So, okay, I got up, put my blanket away, let them pass. Put the blanket down, laid on the ground, focused. Another another ring, another biker. And this was, and I'm not exaggerating, 5 times in 7 minutes that I had to get up and let people pass. So it's absolutely crazy. All the little lakes that are close by that you can, like with by train, like 2 or 3 train stations. It's crowded like crazy. People, I haven't seen as many dogs in my life because everyone now seems to have a dog or 5 dogs or 7 dogs, and everyone walks their dog at every minute of every hour of the day. Fern?
Okay, boomer. Okay, boomer. Boomer, like a baby boomer.
Yeah,
Like
I know the term.
you're complaining just like a boomer.
Yeah,
Just
right.
okay. Just wanted to clarify that.
I aged 20 years in the course of the last 12 months.
No, because you were just the same before, so don't pull that bullshit with me.
Yeah, but that's
No.
why, see, that's why I went
Anyway,
into the
continue.
forest. That's why I went into the forest, that nobody can hear me complain. Now there are people. So this is the thing. So what I did was, because my lovely wife kicked me to do that, she kind of urged me, almost strangled me when I complained. So rightfully almost strangled me when I complained. So to buy a bike. I haven't been sitting on a bike for like 20 years. So, of course, I was mortally afraid of getting on a bike again. So, like really panicking. And she just kind of, when she realized that I wasn't, I'm not just joking, that I'm really mortally afraid of doing that again. She became a bit more soft and tried to, and stopped forcing me, and tried to persuade me. And I'm grateful that she did that. So I can now go um, ride my bike to places that I haven't been before, which are more a bit closer, but farther away for those people who just walk. But the thing
So
is, if
so
you're on a fucking bike with that monster of a camera, doesn't really work, right? So what we did was to get that little M50,
Oh,
which is just a beautiful little camera. Definitely not a replacement for my 90D. My 90D is still beautiful, a beautiful camera. I love this camera, and it's definitely the best camera that I ever worked with, and I would buy it again in an instant. Even though even now I admit it that DSLRs are dead, but I would buy that camera immediately again because it's just a brilliant camera. And the great thing about the M50 is that you can use all the EF and EFS adapters
so
lenses on this camera. So, and last sentence, and then I'll be silent for a while.
no,
The cool thing is that what changed in my photography is because before the pandemic, I was always thinking about, well, will I take my camera with me? Yes or no? Well, that damn thing is extremely heavy. So if I don't go out to take photos, I hardly ever took my camera with me because that damn thing is super heavy. Now I just slip that small little M50 in my pocket because with the I can't show you because I'm filming with it right now. It's like the pancake 24 millimeters on the camera, so brilliant. Even more brilliant when shooting with vintage lenses because of the electronic viewfinder that I'm still not a fan of, but
really.
still not a fan of.
Oh,
But this is a brilliant thing for shooting with manual lenses, and there will be a video soon in which I talk a bit about my experiences with shooting with M42 mount lenses on the M50 and some hopefully some tips and tricks. Um, so now having the camera with me very much more often than before definitely changed my photography from I go out shooting because I want to make this or that sort of photo to I take my camera with me and I look around and maybe I find a photo opportunity and then I have a camera with me and can take a photo with. And since I don't like shooting with my smartphone and I have all the possibilities with all the lenses that I have, and I can even use my wonderful little 24 millimeter that I absolutely adore. That's still my favorite lens. Um, I have basically a micro 90D in my pocket, and this is a pretty cool thing.
so the important part here is now you're riding a bicycle on all these trails, correct?
No, I
Oh, you're
write
not.
no, because I don't want to collide with these idiots
Oh, because I was going to say now you're on a
who
bicycle.
occupy my spaces,
Yes.
right?
But the bottom line is now you're riding a bicycle, so you're one of those assholes who's
I'm
colliding with
I'm
idiots
I'm
like you.
definitely one of those assholes now as
Okay.
well. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Just
Yep.
wanted to clarify.
No,
Just
you're
wanted to
right.
clarify, Boomer. Just
You're
wanted to
right.
clarify. Okay. So that's interesting though. So because you know me, I have the 55 prime and the 24 to 105 zoom, and that's it. You know what? You shit, Heiko. There. Oh, that felt good. Oh, it's been a long time, Heiko. I miss you. Uh,
That's what Heiko wrote to the chat, right? By the
you should
way,
hear.
welcome to the video, or
Yes, and
welcome
you
to the
should
stream,
hear
Heiko.
him, by the way. You should hear him. But anyway, I'm not going to out anybody.
I'm
Um,
I'm the guy
Not you.
who's
I'm talking
blushing
Heiko.
all of the time when Heiko speaks, right? And I'm used to Fern.
He's good. But anyway, um, so and I have the camera body for each one, and I just the whole idea of replacing lenses and stuff like that, just I can't deal with it. Um, to me, it's interesting that you, with all of your lenses and all of your equipment, never really before now thought of just going out and shooting and finding pictures, which you did sometimes. But when I guess when you were, I mean, you did that when you were with us, but really I think of the four of us, you were the one who took the least pictures.
Really?
I think so. I think so. I think so. Yeah, because as Heiko said, Steffi and Heiko and I would be taking pictures of buildings or stuff like that, and you'd be sitting there going, "Why?" but it's interesting that
Oh yeah,
now,
okay, yeah, I got it. Yeah,
yeah,
you're right. So I'm
but now I that's changed, and so it's fascinating, and it's changed because you have a lighter camera that doesn't limit your use of lenses and stuff like that because it is an interchangeable lens camera, correct?
yeah. I can use
Okay,
all the lenses I have.
so that's interesting. So it was just the weight consideration. And why didn't you ever just get a like? I mean, I picked up my bag, which granted is smaller, but I love this bag because it carries both cameras, just just right. Uh, but why did you never, or did you used to carry a bag and it was still just too heavy?
Yeah, this thing is a monster. This weighs like a ton.
Oh, and
You
it's got
can.
the battery.
It has a battery grip. Well, that doesn't really add to the weight, but with that thing you can club a rhino to death. By the way, don't do that. Don't club rhinos to death. Rhinos are wonderful animals, and you shouldn't club any animal to death, but you could. And this thing is heavy, and you get back pain and neck pain when you got it around your neck, no matter if it's in a bag or not. But you look very important if you have that camera with you. You look incredibly important.
Well, I have to say I understand what you're saying. I think you look more important to people who know something about photography, but from my experience, and especially from the one experience that I had with this one person, and the fact that I posted one of their pictures, um, which was smoothed out the whole back and forth. One of the comments they made was, you and your nice and your nice professional looking camera, and I'm sitting there going, it's a D50. And it was like 7 years old, but to someone who doesn't know photography, any kind of DSLR, or you know what I mean, interchangeable lens camera
Yeah, right.
looks impressive. I know for me,
Yeah,
I
but these
until I,
I
you know
mean,
what I
like
mean. Now yours
the
looks,
M50 is like this
yeah,
size.
yeah.
It's like, meh.
Well, it's
So
it's like the it's like, because I was going to tell you, you were talking, and I was thinking about the year that I had the 100F, I think it was the X100F, which is the Fuji, that's the fixed lens 35, which
mm,
I loved that camera, by the way. I'm not sorry I got rid of it, but it was an astounding camera. Um, so I get it. I get it. But it's interesting how we're all so different in how we use cameras, and how, life can affect what you. So show us some pictures,
yeah, I can do
recent
that.
pictures.
But before that, let us show, because Amy sent a picture.
Oh
Amy
yes,
Montico sent a
someone who
picture.
actually knows what they're talking about and what they're doing, instead of the two of us.
Exactly, exactly. And I have to again find how we can how I can screen
Sorry,
share.
this is for Heiko, so he understands what I just said. Someone who fucking knows what they're doing. Oh my God.
And uh, Amy wrote, working on learning to composite edit. So let me just check something. Okay, is it still? Yeah. So Amy on the chat, this is an amazing. This is just astounding. How did you do that? So now we have, of course, the delay in in the stream and the chat. So Composite Edit is apparently working with some software. I'm pretty sure that Amy doesn't work with Photoshop, but with Affinity, I guess. Heiko writes, good thing you're only talking about Amy, not yourself, old man Fern. never mess with Heiko. So that I love this enormously painterly effect of that photo. This is I'm 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 positively confused because I can't really figure out whether this is some sort of a paint stroke type of effect put in post processing, or whether this is some sort of Amy wrote, yes, I use Affinity. This photo is not mine. It's not yours. So then we can't show it if it's not yours, other than except for you have the rights to that. So I'll better put it off the of
So I have a question, Amy. Are you focusing more on the post process, or are you still also doing a lot of photography? Still.
Oh, it was a collaboration. See, I'm sorry. I should have asked, and I should, of course, especially Amy. I should have asked Amy because I know that Amy is very aware of copyrights, and if I seem even more off than usual today, it is because I have a pretty bad headache today, and it doesn't go away.
That's all right.
Whatever.
Yes, I will. After this is over, I'll go away and no more headache.
I had the head. I wish it were that easy because I had the headaches before already the whole day.
The thumbs up for Amy, not for
No,
you.
a collaboration that Amy did with and I was trying to say that Pete, but got kicked off. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, Amy. And again, if I seem even more off than usual, it's because I have it happened today that I yelled at one of my coworkers today, and I apologized to them because but he was a pain in the butt. I have to, and I can say that because I'm sure he won't watch this. But he was a pretty pain in the butt. But I of course I have no right to. I didn't really yell, but things got a bit heated. But I apologized later to him, and he said, "Don't even mention it." So apparently it wasn't too bad because he's pretty much
So
yeah.
so
So
I actually have something to say that matters. Thank you. So Amy, are you so the post process work that you're doing? Are you is this something that you and your collaborator decided that they would take pictures and that they would be more the picture taking part, let's say, and you would be more the post part? And what do you want to get out of it? And what decided you to get that? And did this COVID-19 era aff- um, affect your decision making, or was it something you were interested in before? How did you get to where you are? Big question.
very big question.
Yeah, I just realized we can keep talking, but
We
I'd
can keep
rather
it
wait
right.
for her.
No,
I'd rather
what I
wait.
wanted to say is what really positively puzzles me and confuses me is whether this is some sort of a painterly effect that is added in post processing, or whether this is some sort of a multiple exposure.
Multiple exposure.
It is what I love is this combination of soft forms and shapes, right? Like puffy clouds, and then still there are some sharp edges in them. There's also this magenta green color contrast. Beautiful, beautiful.
Well,
So
I think you can get the color effects. I mean, it's probably also in camera. I mean, because this kind of color is, and these I'm assuming are roses, can be found anywhere. It's a matter of having the right amount of touch to bring them out the way they are, because it's complementary colors, which, as everybody knows, I love. But but I think working the sliders, you can just bring them out just right because it looks enhanced the colors are enhanced and they're vibrant, and I love the composition, by the way. But the it's still not overwhelming. The ¿cómo se llama esto? The layered image. Yes. Okay. Yes, that's what I thought, and that's exactly what I was going to say. I don't know enough about this, the process, but I know from looking at pictures like this that you can get that painterly effect exactly the way um, Amy just commented. So it's a masterful use of, and I'm assuming the Affinity tool has similar um, options to Camera Raw slash Lightroom. It's
I
just
think it has
gorgeous.
much more possibilities than Camera Raw and Lightroom has, because stuff like that is not possible in Lightroom or in Camera Raw. You need full-fledged Photoshop for that.
Oh yeah, that would be Photoshop. Sorry. Yeah, that would be a combination. Yes. Yes. So
I
it is
mean,
Photoshop.
I
Yeah.
know Photoshop fairly well, and I'm not definitely not an expert in Photoshop. Um, and I think I have a hunch how something like that or similar or close closely to that could be achieved in Photoshop, but it's amazing. It's just brilliant. Yeah, Amy writes Affinity is like Photoshop. I tried the an early version once, and I was very impressed by it. For me, since I work with Lightroom, I do have, because you can't buy Lightroom anymore, as we all know, and you have that. I have this Lightroom Photoshop bundle, so I do have Photoshop on my computer, of course, because I have Lightroom on my computer, and so I don't need any. And I know Photoshop fairly well, so I'm I'm a boomer. I don't want to learn new software if I don't have to.
Go ahead, take all the fun out of it for me.
I
But
mean,
I really like this because, and I asked Amy if there's multi layers um, that she has, and I didn't ask the full question because I know very little about Lightroom, but I can see from what I've sort of explored. Oh, here we go. Yes, this is down to being locked down, but now being able to get out and get bored, taking photos of things around me, plus winter set in. Ah, okay. But the that effect, I mean, I can see a lot of layers work and a lot of what's the blotting out tool and so on. This is just, it's astounding. It's breathtaking. It really is. It's so pretty because it's almost like it's, and maybe I'm seeing this because I just saw Godzilla versus Kong at the movies last weekend, last Saturday, and last night I watched Godzilla King of Monsters, the newer versions,
mhm.
last night. But to me,
Is
it
it good?
looks like
Is
I
it good?
like them both.
Cool.
I mean, they're mindless, they're stupid,
Yeah, of
but they
course.
were fun. They were fun.
Yeah. Okay.
But this almost looks to me like, in the CGI. Um, there's this, these explosions and things, or like the drops of waters that you see that is so well done that look like they're floating, and yet there's, this has this almost motion to it. Yeah, yeah, like it's almost like it's almost very, very serenely exploding. It's gorgeous. Right, there we go. Mask
Absolutely.
smudge. Yeah, yep, yep, yep. Thank you. A bit of liquefy, which I don't know what that means. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a yeah, very, very cool. I'll
Yeah,
have to
very
check.
cool.
So I just got a message from our guest who sadly had some technical problems, so couldn't join, and they said they will join us on the chat. So if you are here let us know on the chat, so then we can talk, of course, about your photos as well, because they sent me a couple of their photos. So we can show them, and we'll show them and talk about them as
No,
well.
thank you, Amy, by the way.
Amazing photos. Thank you so very
Yes, yes,
much.
yes. So, Pete, while we're waiting, you want to share your photos?
Well, I can show you. I can show you one or two. Let me just um,
God, I love that
find.
picture.
Absolutely. So, so this is one that wouldn't have been possible without the pandemic. This is not a staged photo, by the way. Um, ta taken with the M50 on a. I went to downtown Munich. There's a huge graveyard from the 16th century, I think, 15th or 16th century. It's not used as a graveyard anymore, but as a recreational area. Don't ask me why, but
Oh,
it's a
that
great.
sounds like they have dirty sex there. Ew.
Probably, probably
Ew.
could be. I don't
It's
know.
the way you said it, by the way, but oh well.
Okay, now when I said recreational area, I rather had something
Oh,
different in
like,
mind,
oh,
but
I see. Oh, I
I don't know.
see.
So
Okay.
no, people have walks there, and some people jog. I still find still find the thought of people jogging on a graveyard pretty weird, but okay
Were there some assholes on bicycles getting in your way
as
too?
well. Yes, also that was pre me having a bike, by the way. So, and there was this huge cross, right? And on the ground was that rose. Someone put a rose, and I tried to frame it just this way. I had the M. This is made with the M50, and the cool thing with the M50 is, or not specifically with the M50, is there are adapters that quote unquote, this is no, I don't even want to say it that way. I saw this numerous times on YouTube, people saying this and that adapter makes your mirrorless camera to a full frame camera, which is absolute bogus, of course, because it doesn't work. What they do is they just they make your cameras make your lenses more wide angle, right? So they allow for more wide angle, and also allow for more light to come in. So you have more, the lenses become faster, and the lenses become a bit wider. And so I forgot which lens was on there, but this extreme bokeh is just possible because of that adapter. I think I had the 50 millimeter 1.4 on the lens, which made it, and this adapter made it like a 51 1.0 or something, and made it, of course, a bit wider. So this is definitely a COVID photo, not only because of the topic, but also because of the technique, and uh, yeah, that is behind it. And Joey B on the chat, I hope I didn't butcher your name. Our guest of today is on the chat. It reminds me of Van Gogh painting. So I'm not sure whether this was a comment concerning my photo or Amy's photo, because I think a Van Gogh painting also would very much describe Amy's photo to an extent, because of these swirly shapes. So yeah, that's a
Yeah.
photo that wouldn't have been possible, definitely without COVID. So thank you, COVID. No, fuck you, COVID. But uh, no photo is worth COVID.
Language.
I don't care. So yeah, there's one thing, but there is there is more, of course. So since we are, let me switch to this is, I think, very very unusual for me. So a very very unusual type of photography. So nothing that I ever thought. Yeah, Joey B writes, nope, the earlier one, Amy. So the comment was meant for Amy's photo. So this is also I also with the M50, just walking through the city and seeing reflections and seeing this woman behind glass sitting there reading and the arrow. So for me it has, as I mentioned in the beginning, COVID has become, or the pandemic, what was is more changed my photography or my approach more to, I I don't want to take photos of a specific scenery or a specific thing or subject, but I look for compositions and not for photos. I think that describes it probably best. And I think, yeah,
You're
this is
still a boomer, but at least your mind is doing just a little, just a little open, just a little open.
and then let's take this last one. Well, this is just ice, right? Also M50. I think it was the M50. I'm not sure with that one. Doesn't matter. And it's just going going with what we find, right? Trying to find compositions in our daily surroundings, and I think this is very close to the way you, or in general, your sort of photography, other than when we're talking about your portraits. I think this is a bit of a different approach, but in that's what I always saw in your photos, other than the portraits. It that this was all more about composition and contrasts and shadows and light, and not about the subject itself.
That's
Or
interesting. That's interesting because you are right to a point about yes for everything except the portraits. But even in the portraits, I'm beginning to more and more look for that shadow, contrast, yada 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 stuff, composition. Um, but still, I do focus a lot still on the for yes, that's my style. Yeah, for yeah. But that's interesting that you're getting. I mean, it's all the joking aside, I think that's great. I think, opening up to that kind of photography, because that's how I do almost all of my photography. It's like, oh, cool, let's take a picture. Um, so yeah, that adventure of it is interesting to see you who are like, oh, whatever. Why are they taking pictures of that? My favorite, I think, was in what's that one metro station that we stopped at that had the primary color
yeah,
lamps. That Heiko and Steffi and I were like, ooh, and you were just sitting there going,
yeah, but that was more like I've been there like a million times and seen this exact photo 1,000 times already. But
you have not seen photos like the one I took specifically of the light. I will
that is
bet you anything.
that is absolutely true. That is
But
absolutely true.
that's something that hopefully you will find, is that there's places that you've been to 1,000 times and all of a sudden it goes boom,
Right.
and you get
Boom,
something
suddenly
magical.
cyclers, right? People on bikes. I've been there a million times, and suddenly people on bikes with juggling dogs. right? Okay. No, but I absolutely agree. And this is for me, it was on the one hand side uh an interesting revelation. On the other hand side, it was a very was a very frustrating experience as well, because while before I was always like, okay, I know what I want and I know how I can get it. And now it's like, I don't know if I will get anything. And it's still something that I struggle a lot with, and that I have to admit that I don't really enjoy it. But this is really the question whether will I stop photography or will I go with the flow, right? And I decided to go with the flow, and I decided to alter my approach. And I don't know where this will lead me, and I don't even care where this will lead me. The important thing is that we do something, right? So
Yeah, and it's interesting because that is, and that came up in the conversation of the posts about all of this. The three, I don't know if you saw the third one, but I posted another one, yes, last night, about when I asked the question that brought up this topic, how has COVID changed your photography and all that stuff. And that's the attitude that I learned to have um, about 6 years ago, that if I get great photographs, that's fine. I mean, I've gone out and taken 100 pictures or more of stuff or events or whatever, and not one was good, and that's fine, because then I'll get a good one eventually. You know what I mean? And my attitude became, I've taken some great photographs. I know I will take more. I think whatever happens. And specifically, what really focused me on that was Ansel Adams. If you have 12 good photos in 1 year, that's a great harvest or great crop or whatever. So
true.
that's true. But then I remember I was watching a documentary about this woman photographer, and it starts off with the interviewer and the camera, whatever, at her door, and they knock, and she's like, "Hi, come in." She already has her camera in her hand, and it's a handheld, it's a small street photography type, 35 millimeter fixed lens camera. And well, I'm assuming it was 24 lens, but then 35 with the, but whatever. And when she's opening the door to let them in and greeting them into her home, she says, "Oh, here, let me take some pictures of you, and let's see if anything good comes out of it." And I'm sitting there going, here's someone who is a professional photographer being interviewed, and in front of her interviewer, she says, "Let's see if I'm going to get any good pictures." That just that shook up my world and made me feel so much better about my own photography. And finally, there's the third thing, which I forgot. Richard Avedon, who is so much an iconic photographer, I remember listening to a presentation he did with some of his staff, and he was talking about his famous American West or whatever portrait series, which was the working class people on a white background. And they were talking about how he went to Texas and he photographed for 2 weeks and was so dissatisfied with every one of the pictures that he finally gave up the project after having including being here in Davis. He actually took a photograph right here of the famous one with this guy, bald guy with the fees all over him, shirtless guy. I'm sitting there going, if Richard Avedon, with a full staff of people, could not get what he thought was a good picture in 2 weeks, I'm golden. So that attitude has helped me in dealing with COVID, because that attitude also fed into, sometimes I go out like I did the last time, and I took over 500 pictures in San Francisco, and I've gotten some good photos. and but then I won't photograph maybe
Can
for a month.
will you show some of
Well,
your photos?
that's when
That would
so
be
let me
something.
okay, so let me show.
And
I
then we
have
will,
more
of
than
course,
three.
also show photos of Joey B,
Yes. Oh,
because
that
I
yeah.
have them here, and we're happy to have them on the chat right now, so they can talk about their photos as well.
So I'm just gonna let me share my screen. Share screen. Uh, whatever. Okay, I want to share this one. Share. What's showing now? Okay,
Okay, I have to
so
add it to the stream.
okay, so
I have to
I
remove
just
it from the stream until you show something that we want to see.
all right. Okay, so here's one.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, let me go. Let me go here first. StreamYard is sharing your screen. Okay,
Yeah,
so
we see it.
this one
Oh,
real quick. To me, this I took like 12 pictures of this, but really this is, and sometimes I only take. Let me explain. I usually take one or two pictures, and I do use a mirrorless camera. But I'm of the mind, again, if it's going to be good, it's going to be good. Taking too many pictures drives me crazy. But I took this picture because this is the 4th of July in downtown LA last year. And as you can see, to me, this was a perfect picture showing the pandemic, the global, which is what's a pandemic. That's what a pandemic is. The global emptiness that downtown Los Angeles, right across from the Staples Center, which is a huge stadium, which is always this area is packed, and this is Los Angeles. No traffic, no people walking, nothing, totally deserted. And this was around, I want to say, 12:30, 1 o'clock. So it was the pandemic, the presence of the pandemic, and then the presence of the U.S. epidemic of racist violence. At that time, most what was more in the news was Black Lives Matter, and to me, it was so moving to see this huge sign. It's a digital billboard in Los Angeles, in downtown Los Angeles during this time. So it was the perfect juxtaposition of the pandemic and the U.S. racial violence epidemic. I love this picture. Now, but I will say this is the kind of picture I would have taken anyway. It's just more capturing the period because it's still very much in my style. It's still very much what I've been doing all these years since 2012, which is photographing places and photographing buildings and so on. It's the street photography thing. The next one is this is at a march here in Sacramento for Black Lives Matter. And again, it's the kind of pictures I've been taking before. And actually, the year before, I'd taken very similar pictures at the Gay Pride event, which was a celebration. And now this is an event of sorrow and also hope, I have to say. But yeah, so there's this one. So again, it's the subject matter really to a certain degree, but I'm sticking to the same style and
But
I'm sticking to this.
can I chime
Go
in
ahead.
here for a moment, because
Sure.
I find it incredibly fascinating that seeing also again similarities in terms of what I have become more and more how do you say, um, aware in in my surroundings, and so therefore also um, of sceneries that I take photos of are are words, printed words, written words somewhere, how they interact with the environment. And this is something that, of course, since la vie, her, Germany, haha, Uh, Often German words. I don't show them on my blog usually because nobody would understand what this was means. What they mean. Um, and this is to me, this has become extremely fascinating to see the or to realize the tension. Like, I have this photo and I have to find it, and this is something that I have been thinking about posting for quite a while, because it I think it works even if you don't know what's that, if understand the words. It was on the train. There are these little trash cans in trains where people put their garbage in under the train windows, and it was just a coffee cup, so a paper coffee cup on that, and to me this was in a completely empty train, just this empty coffee cup. And there was something printed on that coffee cup that also kind of uh, uh, elevated this quote unquote message. And so seeing how words uh, suddenly have or how not suddenly how words what words have an impact on us. And
Oh yeah.
sorry that I haven't been paying too much attention to the chat in the last minutes. Joey B writes on the last photo, those words, lives matter, and the emptiness on the street. So yeah, this is just
Thank you.
very impactful photo, very powerful
Thank
photo.
you. So okay. So and by the way, so actually, let me share screen. So share. Let me go to back to this one for a second. This is the kind of thing that I had started doing and at Gay Pride in 2018, where I paid attention not so much to the people but to the signage. And this is not. This is one of the better examples because I love that one that just says, "I don't want my son to be a hashtag." But and it's even more fascinating to me because obviously it's their son. I think it's a woman. Their son is black, but the person who's holding it is either very light skinned or white. So there's this whole story behind this, and but really the photograph to me and a lot of these photographs taken at this event and at others were about the words and the signs. And what adds to that is the impact of the fact that these people are almost faceless to begin with
Yeah.
because they're all wearing masks. And I started to realize that while I was taking the pictures. Um, I don't visualize. I very rarely visualize, but it wasn't a visualization. But that hit me that this is about the signs and the composition of the signs and everything else. But it's not about the people per se. Although there's a couple that
Mm.
are. Okay, so next picture.
Can you go back to the photo for a
Sure.
minute, for a second? A second is enough. No, joking. What I find fascinating is how you positioned the 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 sign in the shot. So
Rule
it's
of thirds.
not centered. Rule of thirds, right? Classic
Rule of
rule of
thirds.
thirds. And
Yes.
yes, sometimes the rule of thirds, or no, not sometimes, the rule of third works. So
Yes.
use that fucking rule when it works, and don't believe those people. You break the rules, break the rule. Fuck it.
Well,
Use the rules. Don't break them. Use them.
use I
Use
agree
them.
with you. Use the rules and use the rules, learn the rules so that you can break them knowing what you're doing. Because that's I mean, you can be lucky when you break the
No,
rules,
no,
but
no.
really when you know the
I
rules,
disagree. I disagree.
you can be.
Use the rules.
Anyway, that
Use the rules and break them if you have if breaking the rules makes a
yes.
bigger impact.
Yes, yes,
That's the
yes.
thing. It's not
Yes.
about breaking the rules for the sake
No,
of
it's not
breaking
about breaking the
rules.
rules.
This is
No.
just and
No.
was always like,
Well,
I hate this. So
so because I've talked about this many times, I have a conversation with each and every photo file that I capture. And sometimes those photos will tell me I suck, get rid of me. So I dump them. Sometimes they say, hey, I might be good later. Let me stick around. And sometimes they say, this is what I want you to do. And we have a conversation while I'm editing until the photo tells me I'm satisfied. I look gorgeous. That's what happened with this one. And by the way, the specifics of the rule of third here is that I set that sign to be at the point of conversion that's right where the two lines cross in that upper left. That's where that is. And
Do you have the line superimposed
not
on your
not here. I
viewfinder?
mean, I could do it if we have time. I could do it in Camera Raw to show you.
No, I mean, do you have the guiding lines in your camera
Oh,
superimposed
in
on
my
the
no,
viewfinder?
I don't know. I no, I this is processing.
I see.
This is in Camera Raw,
I see.
and there's cropping. Yeah, no, a lot of these pictures I just take and thinking about as much as possible. But a lot of this is, I mean, this is not photojournalism. This is art for me because I go in and manipulate these photos with contrast and all a lot of the other slider settings and colors by mix and so on. But anyway, I don't want to take more
I
time because
love
we still have
this.
Julie.
Rules break when there's exception. I love this.
There you go. Yeah, who said that?
Julie B.
Yes. So anyway, this is again the influence of COVID-19. This was on my birthday when I went to San Francisco and literally had an emotional meltdown where I was driving out of San Francisco across the Golden Gate Bridge and crying because it just destroyed me. It was so empty. This is one of the most famous spots in San Francisco for tourists. This is where the cable cars go from here to Fisherman's Wharf, a very popular fishing tourist destination. And this is always full of people in a line around this turnaround. And the cable car comes in, and as you can probably tell, that circular apparatus turns so the car can go the other way. And it was empty. It was empty. There was actually, you can barely see it, but there's a skateboarder in the middle of the street, all the way in the back. But it broke my heart because this was
Yeah.
San Francisco,
But
and I have other pictures of.
wouldn't that be an amazing scenery for like I don't know. I'm just putting that out there, right? And it's just I know this is not beyond every imaginable scenario, but wouldn't that be an amazing scenery for a movie about a pandemic?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it felt. That's exactly how that. And by the way,
But this
that's
is the
exactly
difference, right?
how.
I complain about too many people in the places that were like empty before, and you say, "Oh wow, all these places that were packed before are now empty." How
Yes,
crazy is
but these
that?
are in cities.
Yeah,
These are
right.
in cities.
I get it. It's I mean,
Yeah.
how crazy is that? I mean, you're not the nature photographer type of person,
No.
right? You're not the person to walk in through the forest and take photos
No.
of trees like I am,
No.
right?
No.
So for you, it's like, oh my God, everything is
It's
different
dead.
now because there are
Yes.
no people. I say, oh my God, everything is different now because too many people.
Yes, and I have to say also, by the way, and again, I've talked about this many times, but in the town where I live, which is an agricultural town, it's a university town, and it's a small town of about 60,000 people. It's empty. I live on the main street, actually on the intersection of two main streets, right across the street from the university campus, and it was always full of bicycles and people. Now I could go outside and stand there for 15 to half minutes to half an hour, and there's nobody there. And that's the emptiness. Even here, even in our parks, even like when I go to the farmers market, when I go out into the fields, of course it's farming fields because it's an agricultural area. There's nobody. There's almost nobody on their bicycles. I mean, it's horrifying. Anyway, so that's what's affected me. I mean, going to Seattle, going to Miami last month to visit my family and take care of family stuff. The airports, it was like flying right after September 11th, which I happened to do because I had a reservation, like a week after. It was horrifying, and it yeah, yeah, anyway. Okay, next picture. This
Oh,
is
so sorry.
also, go ahead.
Here we go.
Oh, this is also from Los Angeles, actually, and this is the museum. I can't remember the name of it at the moment. That's right across from the Walt Disney Concert Hall, which I've taken so many pictures of the 3 times I've been there. Um, and I love this photograph because this is the kind of thing that I'm most when people think of my photography, this is what they think of, this kind of very stylized
Right.
urban geometry, black and white photography. So again, it hasn't changed. And I did a lot of these pictures and I've done a lot of these pictures. So I'm going to show a couple more and then I'm going to stop. This is from Halloween in San Francisco last year. And the very fact that there were very few people, but there were still people who were willing to even wear masks and still go out and save and celebrate Halloween just just lifted my heart. And then there's this picture, and I'm showing these two because I want an opinion. Which do you prefer, the black and white or the color? I
I
just
prefer the
posted these
color.
yesterday. Really?
Definitely the color.
On the
Definitely.
comments, is there anything?
They're not. They're
Oh
not.
well, if they're not going to see
Now
it
you
yet.
can you show the picture again?
Sure.
Because the people on the lovely people on the chat are always a couple of
Right.
seconds behind, right?
Share. Boom.
So which do you prefer? The chat, black or white, black and white, or color? I mean, for me, the black and white creates a stronger contrast to what's on the shirt.
Yes.
So again, words versus image. Amy on the chat writes color, so she prefers color too. But I still say color. For me, the color photo has a bigger impact. Maybe it's because color is more signal. I don't know.
Okay, I'm done.
Good. Then
Chewy.
let's ciao. Steph writes, I like the color more as well. Bud writes black and white. So Bud is
Really?
on the black and white side. Steph writes, I like the color more. And
Well,
Julie B
it,
writes also color.
the only opinion that matters is Steffi's anyway. So,
No, quite honestly, the only opinion that matters is your opinion because
ugh.
you made the photo. But now let's jump into Joey B's photos because they were kind enough to share some of their photos with us. So
Connection gone. Oh,
connection gone, but we can talk about the photo.
oh,
And is it there? Yes.
yes.
And let me try to make it even bigger.
Well, and if she doesn't have the connection, I mean, it'd be great to get her commentary. I love primary colors.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, primary complementary colors. She can always watch this later too, or
Or
join us
he.
again,
We don't know.
or he. That's true. They can join us. Thank you.
They- what I love, and this is a bit of a spoiler, of course, because I know I have seen the photos before. All of the photos they shared with us are, at least I presume, photos that were made at home at in some way, right? So this I absolutely like this one because it has this sort of mystery to it. So what actually is it? It's probably some sort of glass, maybe drinking glass, or maybe it's a lamp or a vase or something. And this complementary color, contrasting color thing in this the reflections on the in the really dark blacks on in the shadow is just fascinating. And they also took part quite a lot in the abstract challenge. So I saw a lot of their photos in the abstract challenge, which well, it's an abstract photo, right? Bart writes about the question or about his decision that he prefers the black and white photo more. Um, he writes, but you do realize it is a person.
Yes.
Amy writes, it really makes the texture pop. Yes, absolutely. The light and the color, it's
Yes.
like it really jumps out. It has a very tactile feeling to it.
Yes. And what I really like about this picture too is, which is one of the things that fascinates me, is that it's symmetrical, and yet when you start getting into the details, it's not
Yeah,
symmetrical.
right.
The right has that very sharp definition of the light, and then the left has a at the bottom where the red meets the black, there's still a sharp line, but not quite as sharp. And then at the top, it's very at the top where the red meets the background. It's a lot more blurry. There's also the fact that even the candle or the vase or whatever it is isn't symmetrical itself. There's that black spot right right to the left, on the left side
Yeah,
of the you know what I mean? So it's very playful. Even the reflection under the glass, whatever that
right.
is, there's
It's
more
from
light,
maybe it's a
and it's
bottle.
I don't know, but whatever it is, it's a fascinating yet incredibly minimalist picture.
Definitely. And yeah, this is also a great example for what we can do when we're not allowed or when we can't go anywhere else, right? Just a bit of light can be a desk light, and a glass, right?
Yeah.
Or a vase or whatever. So I have for I bought them for actually this streaming setup, and I'm still trying out stuff, etc. I bought three light panels, small light panels, and I have them on like a magic arm here, one, and there's one on a little tripod there, and they came shipped with color gel. So the light that you see in the background, that's pointing at the bookshelf, right?
Well,
By the
we
way,
can't.
this
I
is the
can't see
exact.
you.
Oh, sorry, I'm stupid.
Well,
Uh, yeah, we
that's
know
my
that.
line, but oh well.
Yeah, right. So that hint of blue that you see
Yes.
at my bookshelf, that is actually a small little flat light panel with blue gels in it. And this, by the way, is the exact bookshelf that almost killed me while you were
I've
here
been
with
meaning to
me.
ask you.
Yeah, this is
Okay, if I would have known that shelf was going to fall, I would have pushed you under it or made sure you were sitting under it. But oh well.
yeah. We're Joey B's back on the chat asks why whether we are discussing the bottle. Now we know what it is. Yes, we're discussing the bottle. We asked ourselves, what is it, right? Is it a bottle? Is it a glass or whatever? And we were wondering how you achieved this. So if you want to and shed some light, pun
Shed some
intended,
light. Joke.
shed some light, pun intended, on this, because so I'm losing net connection. Yeah, this is really a shame. This is really a shame. Fuck the net. That is a political comment that I agree with. So where's Heiko? Where's the word police now? So yeah, let's since Joey uh apparently has some problems with their connection, let's switch to another photo. It's actually a set, so let me oopsie. Now I closed my window, which that wasn't a good idea. Let me try to get that on the screen. So, and make this is a set. Maybe can I make this bigger? Yes. Oh, I'm good. Ah, I am so good. I am incredible. I am
Sure.
incredibly good. So,
Remember, I've met you, so yeah, whatever.
yeah, so that's a lie. But we're always bigger on the internet than we are in real life. So, um, and I'm not even big on the internet. So imagine how small I am in real life. So, this set also fascinated me, and the interesting thing is that um, how can we? There's more to that. I love this extremely gritty feel that these two photos have. They almost look like how can we put that? I don't know the English word. These printed. Let me check the word. Andy Warhol did um
Not stencil.
that's silk screen.
Silk screen.
Silk screen or screen printing or silk
Yeah, silk screen.
screening.
Yes.
So that's what this reminds me. Very stylized, very gritty, very painterly also.
Yes.
Um, Absolutely love that. And with the chili, this or bell pepper, whatever it is, this red and yellow and white makes it almost glow, and I'll have this kind of visual sensation of how hot and spicy that thing is. I think
Yes.
I love it, absolutely love it. And again, something
But
we can make at home, right?
yes,
You don't need
but
fancy
here
gear or anything.
no, but here's the thing that really makes it pop to me is I agree with you, but without the complementary color play again, without that very dark and very subtle green background, mostly to the right, this
Yeah,
picture would not be as effective.
true. But
It's that
I
shock of two opposing colors
I
that just
don't I
makes it
don't
pop.
I don't think there's a need in talking about how this photo would be less effective. The question is rather how would it be more effective and effective. And I don't think this could be more effective,
No.
right?
Well,
Because
you know
this
me,
is
I rarely think about that. But yes.
this is I absolutely this is a photo, right, that I could absolutely imagine hanging as a print somewhere. Probably not in my kitchen because my kitchen has a different color scheme. But this is definitely something that a lot of people would hang on their walls.
Yeah, and not in the kitchen. I mean,
Not
this is
wow,
yeah, to me
this is
this
a
is a
classic bedroom image, right?
hey, if you've got a hot pepper
Spicy.
in the bedroom, that
That's what I
more power
meant.
to you.
That's what I meant.
Um
Amy writes, "This has a painterly feel."
yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, just walk into your through your this is, something I did, I think, twice already. It's a beautiful sort of photography exercise. Just take a camera, one lens or a couple of lenses, whatever, lock yourself in a room and make 100 different photos in one room. This is incredibly hard, but this is so gratifying. This is if you really do that, um, and then look at the photos later. Because if you really say you have to make 100 photos, you will just take photos. You won't think too long and try to make every photo like special. You will just do it and then look at the photos later, and there will be maybe 10 photos that are very unique and something you say, "Wow, I wouldn't have thought that I could even make that." Maybe there are only 4, maybe there are 20. I found that the second time I did it in my bathroom, right?
Ah!
No,
Ah!
it's amazing. Try it. I dare you try
I
it.
remember you posted some pictures in
Yeah,
on Tumblr. You
I
did.
dare
Yes, I
you
do
try it.
remember. And I
It is
remember because one of them was that green toilet paper
I
holder thing that you have in your bathroom,
yeah,
that plastic, which is really cool.
this is
Um,
really
I,
cool.
I, 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 the
I
Sorry, the concussion has messed up my. I
I'm sorry, I
agree
didn't
with
want to
you. Oh no,
knock
that's
you.
fine. You please. You're a rude fuck anyway. Heiko, never mind.
Really?
Heiko's not paying attention. But to me, and you know how I feel about challenges in general. Just you talking about it and my trying to think about it, I froze because again, it's not the way that I photograph. And I've tried that and it just doesn't. I guess I would have to be in the mood to do something like that, but it even now I think that's what's getting me stuck. It just
No,
my brain
it
shuts down.
it becomes over like the first 10, 15, maybe 20 I'm sorry, are comparatively easy. And once you took photos of the obvious, then it becomes hard. And then suddenly it becomes easy again. And then at the end to the end it's hard again. But it is really it is a challenge that I'm happy that I made it, and I probably won't make it again very soon, but I will certainly do it again in a different room than my bathroom.
Oh yes, please,
Bathroom is
not in your bathroom.
hard. Bathroom is hard because it's usually not a room where you have a lot of stuff in, right?
Yes. Well, I could take a picture of all the toilet paper I still have from last year,
Ah,
but
okay, yeah, right.
I went out and bought a lot and still have toilet paper. Anyway, next picture, please.
Yeah, that's part of the set.
Yes,
The lemon.
the
Also
lemon or the lime.
interesting, say I love the is it water? The water drops on the ground, that adds so much that
Yes,
kind of mirror the texture of the lemon.
yes. And then the black background in the back, and the way
Yeah.
that the photo almost, and you know how I love this, which is again one of the rules you're not supposed to break, almost divides the surface down the middle.
Amy writes, and I think I'm not really sure
Oh,
when she said it, what she was referring to. That is where in-camera multi-exposure would come in handy. Absolutely, this is if you do
yes.
challenges like that, trying out every feature of your camera. If your camera, my camera also has multi-exposure. I never really tried it, and I always wanted to try it, but I never really tried it. So this is definitely uh, something you can yeah, your 100 challenge. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and
Totally.
by
Totally.
the way, yes, that multi exposure would be lovely for that challenge, but not for Pete in the bathroom. No. Anyway,
You never
no, no, no.
were with me in the
Let's move on.
bathroom? You have
That's
no
a
idea?
wonderful picture.
I
That's a wonderful. I love the bright. Yeah, and here it's not a matter of complementary colors. It's a matter of being within the same color. I don't know if it's spectrum or hues or
yeah.
whatever, but and in a way it yeah. I mean it's the yellow and blue. So you got the green. Although of course if I'm thinking about color, not about light. So and then you have the slight orange that line that cuts in the back that's another it's just red and orange. So yeah, it's a gorgeous picture. Next picture, because we are almost an hour and a half.
So then let's I will go to the third photo that uh Dewey B submitted. Let I have to find it. Uh I clicked on share and it the share screen disappeared. I am not happy about that, but it happened. So this is oopsie, uh, another abstract photo, also a photo that really makes me wonder what I see. I want people to guess what it is. Okay, so you definitely succeeded in that. Is it Planet Jubus or take a moment to guess? I would really
It's
love
a
and
rotten
appreciate it.
olive.
A rotten olive. I don't want to live in your brain, Fern. I want probably the same way I don't want to live in your brain as you don't want to live in my bathroom. But
No, your
Ah,
bathroom, yes. Your brain, no. Your bathroom is lovely. It was clean. It was organized. It was lovely. Your brain, no. So we agree. Anyway, yeah. I mean, it actually does remind me. It makes me think. I mean, of course, not completely, but because of the again complementary colors and that orange red. It the first thing I thought of was a pitted olive with the stuffed with red pepper.
uh, I kind of have the impression, but I can be completely wrong, of course, that this photo is somehow the colors are somehow inverted. It looks inverted to me,
It's a
or
drain pipe. It's a sink. It's you're looking
wow,
into the drain pipe, and
the
it's
brownish,
definitely the colors. The yes, the colors have definitely
yeah,
yeah.
or it
The
is
hues have
photographing
been
into a bottle,
or
like into
into
a
a bottle.
plastic bottle or something. Because I'm the texture of the light blue is sort of kind of course, like the contrasts are pretty tight, right? There's a lot of there was a lot of post processing going on, a
Yes.
really a lot of abstraction, which I personally love. Uh, um, and this gritty, also again like gritty feel, emphasized by the color choice. This greenish, brownish type of definitely makes me also think a bit of a of a drain pipe. Yeah,
What's Planet Jubis? Is it one of those things that Steffi and Heiko would know?
it sounds like that. Heiko, what is Planet Jubis? If anyone, then you know. So nerd nerd power, nerd power. I can Google, right? Planet Jubis, Planet Jubis.
I love the picture. There's something very also makes me think of 1960s Hammer horror films.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
The Technicolor, the very Technicolor
Yes,
pop.
yes,
It's not that
yes.
it's violent or anything, but it's like the very graphic design of the
Yeah, 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 yeah.
titles and so on.
The right,
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah. Very,
absolutely.
you know what? And it's very Pedro Almodovar. His work and his titles are often bringing that kind of imagery over. It's very
Right.
cinematic.
Joey B writes on the chat, "Nope, it's not a rotten olive. Take a guess." Yeah. It might be like leftover coffee and with wrong colors later. So, or like when before we went live, I my cocoa exploded in my in my microwave because I made the and it looked similar. What was left in the microwave looked very similar. So maybe like bit like that. So yeah, I have no idea. This is probably a cup or a, I'm still thinking it's a plastic bottle because light comes in from the side. So that's what I think.
Yeah, and I'm not very good at guessing, so I've got nothing else. But I like it. I do like looking at it though. I love the complementary colors.
Hmm.
And what I like is that it's got the red, which is very much the opposite of the green, but it has the slight orange, which is somewhat opposite of the aqua blue in the background.
Yeah, totally.
And we are an hour and 37 minutes. Well, an hour and 32 minutes because we
So
were late.
maybe Joey B will solve the riddle, and until they do, let me show you one more photo because this is also a photo that I made during the pandemic, and it is, I think, while it is not very far from what I usually did or have been doing for years, it is on the other hand very different. And this is also a photo I think I wanna talk about a bit about. Um, and this
Oh,
is and the interesting thing, personally think the interesting one of the interesting things of about whoopsie, now it's gone. one of the interesting things about this. Come on, what's happening? One of the interesting things about this photo is that there's almost no post processing. So the only thing that was really done to that photo was like very, very little editing, like a bit of contrast tweaking and a vignette. I love vignettes, so I put a bit stronger vignette on that than I usually put, but that's it.
But it's
So
not
let me.
obvious,
It's
by the way.
yeah, but if you know where to look at, but I hope
Yeah,
it's not too obvious.
no,
Joey B
no.
writes, Planet Jubus was just to throw people off the gas. So okay, so there's no thing like Planet Jubus. So
Planet Jubis. Okay.
okay, so this was this is basically more or less out of camera, and this was with a 90D and also my 105 macro lens,
I was
and
gonna
this
say macro lens. Yeah.
And so this was very simple, a very long lens, comparatively long lens, 105 millimeter, very open aperture, 2.8, and just lots of stuff in front of the lens, right? So that made this kind of soft, very flat feel of the photo, and there you have your color contrast again,
Yeah.
right?
And by the way, was it sunny? It wasn't, was it?
It was late afternoon. Sun was
Oh, okay.
almost setting. So also very soft light. So that played uh, in this as well, of course. So this is also one thing that I discovered for myself, because so far I was I was always trying to get the cleanest picture possible, and by just laying in the grass, right, with the blanket that I didn't have my blanket with me that time because it was a sunny day,
Avoiding
but
the assholes on the bicycles.
avoiding the assholes on the bikes, right? But laying on the ground in the meadow, right, with the macro lens, and then not being able to get everything out of the way, I suddenly realized, hey, how interesting is this, right? Because it adds texture to the photo. It adds some sort of there's sort of a almost like a bit of a veil over everything. It makes things softer, and I have one from the same day. This is also the effect is not as strong in this one, but it's same here, right? So almost out of camera. So this is what I really enjoyed, what I
Oh
really enjoyed doing.
my. Yes.
So
Actually, I like this one better. Well, no, I like them both. I can't say better.
yeah, I actually I do like this one better because there's more mystery to that shot. So this opening
Well, it's also
blossom
more
type of
focused,
thing.
and you've got the
Yeah,
leading lines of the leaves and of
it's a
the
better photo.
stem. Yeah, yeah.
It's
The other
definitely
one
the
is
better
like,
photo.
what do I look at? This one
Right,
is, and what makes it tougher? What do I look like?
right.
Look at the bud sits a little bit more to the front.
Yeah,
On the left is a little bit just a touch sharper.
yeah,
So you know what I mean? It's
totally.
this one's more about color, whereas the one single almost starting to open bud is sharper. So no, the next photo, the
Yeah, I
last one.
I definitely crop that now. If I
Oh,
were to
okay.
re-edit it again, I definitely crop it and leave that right part out, I guess. Like
Yeah,
crop,
and
make it
also
really crop
perhaps even
here.
the top too.
Maybe the top, there's nothing going on there, right?
Yeah,
So
and it's distracting because there's more light, and so there's that contrast of light and
and
dark
that's
at the top there.
and that's what I can do, right? With the 90D, 32 megapixels. Fuck you. I don't care. I can zoom in, I can crop out to this, and I can still
Wait, how
keep it.
many megapixels?
32.
Oh, I thought you said 92. I was like,
No, oh
damn,
my god. So yeah,
that's
I
gorgeous.
also think that's the better picture.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I would perhaps crop it a little on the top or do some kind of
Uh-huh.
whatever that replacement tool is or blotting or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah,
This
because of
this
that white
distracting, yeah.
spot which attracts my eye up there a
Yeah,
little.
totally.
Yeah, but aside
Absolutely.
from that, or maybe just crop that whole part just a little. Anyway, let's get back to Juby's photo
So
Dewey's.
what was it, Juby?
Yeah, because
Chewy?
we are running out of time, or we should stop soon.
What
I
was
mean, it's
it?
been an hour and 45 minutes.
Relieve us.
I think everybody has left the building with
Seven. We're
Elvis.
still seven people on watching. Um, so yeah, maybe if maybe the connection dropped again, but then we will solve the puzzle next time,
Next time.
unless Chewy B chimes in. So let's wrap up for today. It was a
And I'll
pleasure.
keep, by the way, I'll keep watching comments
Oh,
or
that's
chat on YouTube
very good.
just to see if something comes up. But yeah, nothing came up after that last comment.
So it was a pleasure to do an in conversation again. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
after
I
such a long
know.
time.
Hold on. Speaking of changes during COVID-19, that's been one of them. I mean,
That's been one
we
of them.
haven't been this long ever. I mean, it's been a month. I
True.
think the most has been 2 months a couple of times.
No, we had a break of like 3 months or something once already, but this was like the longest.
Yeah, this is the long. I mean, and we didn't even keep in touch. You weren't posting.
Right.
I fell off. I really didn't want to. I mean, I kept posting, but I didn't want to communicate with anybody for several months. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
got you. So
COVID-19.
COVID-19 fucks everything up. I think
You
that
got
is
it.
a wonderful description of
Where's
what had been
Heiko?
happening. One, I think Heiko is has gone to bed because it's already late here. So yeah, so it was a pleasure. We're thrilled to having been back on the in conversation. Of course, like usual, we had technical issues, but that's just how this works, right? I hope you enjoyed it at least half as much as we did, because I did enjoy it tremendously. And there will be a couple more bit of self advertisement. There will be more videos on this channel, not only live streaming videos. So I will be talking about this thing here, right? So what it is, you heard it already on the show. And thank you, Fern. Thank you for everyone who participated on the chat. Thank you, Amy, for sending in photos. Thank you, Julie, for sending in photos. Joey B writes, it's a painting mug. Ah, that makes sense. It's paint. Yeah. See, riddle solved. So we even solved the riddle lately. And
At the
maybe we,
end.
at the end, maybe we can solve the problems, the technical problems, and maybe Joey might join us next time, or one of in the future, directly on the stream. I like the idea of people sending in photos during the stream. I mean, this was kind of
A
uh,
critique.
a it was a critique, but it was a spontaneous idea. So maybe let's make this a thing, right? That if people want to send in their photos during the stream, um, if it fits that's the topic, so we will announce the topic, and if people want to send in their photos and talk a bit about their photos, or general, let's make something. Let's do the next in conversation will be about your photos, but we want you on the stream, right? So we want to see your photos, and we want to talk with you about your photos. So you select 3, 4, 5 of your photos, send them, get in touch with us and send the photos somewhere. We will manage that so we can show it on the stream, and we're going to talk about your photos. So I think that's a good idea. What do you say,
Yeah.
Fern? Cool. Then let's do it. Thank you so much. Thank you, lovely people on the chat, and see you, hear you soon. And I have to find the button to end the broadcast. Here we go. And there's too many buttons. Here we go.